What is the soul?
I've interviewed people. I've interviewed a man who was a the head of an emergency room, and he had a gift and he never told anyone about his gift, and he was able to see the souls leaving when people died. He could see the souls entering a body when people were born. I have spoken to people who have had near death experiences, and they tell the story about how their soul left their dead body, because what we lose is these earth suits, but our essence, our soul, goes on and goes back to the other side. I've been told so many times that we are on this earth to learn lessons, and this for the soul, time is there's no such thing as time really once our souls are returned to the other side. It's just an illusion. It's part of this experience that we have while we're in these earth suits. So one of the things I also want to talk about is, did you all know that animals have souls? I can't even tell you how many galleries I've been in where mediums are channeling deceased loved ones and animals are coming through. The best story, I was at a gallery once with a very famous medium, and it wasn't actually a gallery, it was a seance. There were 10 people in the room. Each of us had lost. I don't really think of soul as lost, had transitioned to the other side. And there was a woman in the room, her husband had transitioned, and the medium said to her, "I'm seeing a husband figure around you, and he's surrounded by 5 gerbils. Did he happen to own 5 gerbils who are all now deceased?" And the woman said, "Yes, that's my husband Bill, and he had 5 pet gerbils. Even the gerbils came through from the other side to acknowledge him to his wife." I have seen horses come through. I have experienced dogs coming through, cats coming through. It's amazing. And they often wait for their beloved owner on the other side. Sometimes they reincarnate back as another animal coming into the person's life. But we all have souls.
Do souls have more than one incarnation, either on Earth or elsewhere?
I have 3 adorable grandsons. Of course, I think there's no one better than my grandsons, but I have these adorable grandsons. And when one of my grandsons was about 3.5 years old, he came out of the bathtub one day and he said, I can remember once when my brother and I, he's a fraternal twin, were cavemen, and a lion came along and ate me, and a few days later it came back and ate my brother. That is a past life memory that people often say that children have before people tell them that's silly, don't think about that. Or when children play with invisible friends, they can see a soul.
What's the difference between a young soul and an old soul?
What's the difference between an older soul and a younger soul? I liken it to that some younger souls, it's like if we're here for school, some of us are in nursery school, some of us are in elementary school, some of us are in high school, some of us are PhDs. So they're all different stages of soul growth that we achieve while we are here in our earth suits. And then we go back and we bring back, and in my book, They Serve Bagels in Heaven, Saul recounts a scene that he came back and he told Source, he shared with them what he had learned in this lifetime. We come back to the other side to share what we learned while we were in these earth suits and had these experiences that we can't have when we're a soul, when we're energy. Carrying around every experience that we've had in every lifetime that we've had.
Does a soul plan its incarnations ahead of time?
I have interviewed people who tell us that in between lives, we actually meet with a council before we're going to incarnate, and we talk about what we want to learn in the next lifetime. We come in with a soul group So, someone who was your mother in this lifetime may be a sister in another lifetime. I myself have been told I have two brothers that one of my brothers kind of came in this lifetime to be my wingman, to give me support in certain ways, that we have been through different iterations in different lifetimes together. So, yes, we choose, and we also, which is very hard for me to still digest, but I've heard it many times. When you see someone who has a terrible affliction or something is wrong, sometimes the soul actually chose that to have that experience in this lifetime. And sometimes the experience is to help other people in some way with their, to evolve with lessons they are supposed to learn around that situation. So it really changes the way I view those situations a lot of times.
Discuss the role of free will in a given incarnation.
Yes, we have free will in each lifetime. You can make the best plan in the world on the other side, and things can happen. Things happen in life to screw it up in a way. For instance, in my particular situation, when I got those messages, I had free will to follow the messages and feel that something was up and write that book, or say, this is baloney and I'm not going to go there. This is what free will is all about, how you act on things, and that it's really important to understand that throughout life, not only as a soul, but as a personality, we have choice. You can choose whether you're going to have dinner here or dinner there. You choose how you're going to live your life, and how you're going to interact with people, or what choice you're going to make. It's the same thing with a soul. They when we have difficult experiences and all, we can, as I'm learning now, as the planet is vibrating and evolving, we can look at handling something in a 3D way, get into the drama of it, get into the neediness of it, or whatever, or we can look at it from a higher level as more as a witness, to see what is going on and to choose how we and our soul wish to react to it in this situation. Yes, we all have choices as souls as to the way we deal with things and we react to them. And as we become evolved, we can learn to react to things, choose to react to them from a witness standpoint instead of a participatory in the drama standpoint.
What is the veil of forgetting and why do we need it?
If you didn't have a veil of forgetfulness, and you remembered when that, like my little grandson remembered when he was eaten by a lion, and you went through your whole life remembering every lesson from every past life that you ever had, would you be able to learn the lessons that you came here to learn this time? So we're given a veil of forgetfulness so that we can come into this lifetime to learn what we need to learn. In a way, I think it's a protective mechanism for us, um, to add to our database for our lessons that we're learning, and to help us. What happens is, though, with near death experiences or out of body experiences, or for me, the spiritual awakening that I had, sometimes we get jolted awake, and then we are put more in touch with what's going on across the veil. If you talk to a medium, many times your loved one will come through and tell you that they are across the veil, but they're in your life and they're witnessing everything that's going on with you. They know everything that's going on with you. Or if you're taking, I've seen orbs in pictures, which are souls moving around people. So yeah, so we are aware that they're there. We're aware that they're in our lives. But for us to have this experience, I think the veil of forgetfulness is on purpose so that we can learn what we need to learn in that particular lifetime.
Is there such a thing as hell?
No, there is no such thing as hell. Hell is more of a human construct, and I really think that's part of the what some people do to threaten you if you don't behave in a certain way, that you're going to be punished. I have, from what I have learned, that is not true. Depending on our how we have evolved, we go to the other side and we land, depending on our vibration, on what they call a plane, a vibratory plane. It's not full of fire and brimstone, none of that. But it's where you go to learn your lessons from this lifetime and to heal. Some people land on a higher plane because their vibration is higher than others, but there is no hell. And I have been told that even evil people go to the other side, they get their life review, and then there are places for them to go to atone or to learn lessons from it. They say there are even healing places on the other side, all kinds of things. And maybe one of the things in my book that I was told is some souls can't really reincarnate and come back if they do something that is so grievous. They have to stay on the other side till the consequences of what they have done have been neutralized. But they're not in hell. They're not with fire and brimstone. They come across and they get a great understanding. The best way I can, in a way, put it to you is in my own situation. I grew up with a very abusive father. And when I was first opening to this world, I had a meeting with a medium, and all I wanted to hear from was my husband. My father abandoned me for 23 years of my life. I had a very contentious relationship with him, and I was actually very afraid of him. And he died about a year before Saul died. And one day, so now I go to see this medium, and the medium said to me, I have a man here. He's in a big chair. He's got dark hair on his arm, and he's holding my hand, my arm from spirit. And I yelled, "Dad, get out of here. I don't want to hear from you. I don't want to know you." And she said to me, "Please, he's begging me to ask you to please let him say something." And I said, "Okay, what do you want to say?" Thinking to myself, "All right, say what you got to say because I want to hear from Saul." And the what he said was, I'm on the other side. I understand things very differently than I did when I was in the lifetime with you. He said, a lot of things that have happened. I had a brother who was sick. I had different things that had gone on in my family. He said, they're my faults. He said, I'm sorry. He said, and I see this world you're in now. And please don't stop. I am with you and I am learning from it. And please don't stop doing what you're doing. You're going to help a lot of people. And the other thing that he said to me, I said, well, what are you going to do about your son? Because at the time my brother was very ill. And he said, not only did he say some of that's my fault, he said, don't stop talking to your brother because what you're learning is going to help your brother and it's going to help a lot of people. And he apologized to me in that session. And then he was gone and Saul came through. So in my mind as a child, when he was literally so mean and so nasty and punitive, I used to think that this was a man who would go to hell because he was horrible. And here he went to the other side. He got his life review and he started understanding things in a different way and came through to apologize and said to me that he's learning with me. Please don't stop.
Do spirit guides or angels assist us?
Yes, we have spirit guides. Yes, there are angels. I've done energetic healing where angels will come through to me. We have archangels that are with us for all different kinds of functions, different kinds of reasons. And there's no doubt when they pulled me out of the car and I got that message, be loving and kind to everyone, that was probably a guardian angel because I'm told that we all have a permanent, through each lifetime, one guardian angel who's really with us through the whole lifetime, and then there are other guardian angels that change depending on our need. Now I'm doing a podcast, and I'm sure that there are guardian angels around me who probably have that expertise from other lifetimes, and they're helping me in whatever way that they can. So we have this help if you open when you open to this world, which again I did not believe in before. When you open to this world and you're aware, I see the signals and the signs that they are leaving for me all the time, and every time I move towards take a step towards that sign, it works out like it's amazing, like synchronistically. it all kind of flows. And when you look at your life from more of a witness standpoint of an overview, you can really see these things happening in your life.
Is life on the physical plane an illusion?
What I have learned is that once the soul gets to the other side, and remember that every soul is like a hologram with all their different lifetimes that they lived and everything. For them, this was just an illusion for them. This was your experience in this lifetime. For us, it's a very long, oh my gosh, we're living, 80 years, 90 years. Some souls come and they live 3 weeks or whatever they plan that they're going to do. But generally, we come through this lifetime and it seems long and it's very real to us. But when we go to the other side, it's like, okay, that happened. Now I'm ready to continue to grow and move on. So I would not think of this myself as an illusion because it's real to us here, but it's part of a much bigger picture that is not as important as the drama. I mean, we experience all these dramas for the soul that this is like, well, yeah, this is what I set up and this is what I learned from that lifetime.
Where is heaven?
If you think about the fact that we are in these dense bodies, and when these bodies die and our soul goes to the other side, our souls are still around us. Heaven is not in some kind of cloud high up above. Heaven, if you call it as you call it heaven, is right here with us. When my mother crossed over, I had it's an amazing story, but an hour and a half after my mother crossed over, I happened to have an appointment with a medium that day. I had made it 2 months before. I did not know when my mother was going to pass. And just coincidentally, an hour and a half after my mother passed, this medium had an appointment with me. And she said to me, I'm getting a message from a woman. It feels like a mother energy. She says, yay, she made it. She's on the other side. My mother described jewelry she gave me. She described how my grandfather, my maternal grandfather, met her and took her to the other side. There was no way that this medium knew anything about my life, about my mother's life. She described my grandfather to a T, everything. So my mother was now in heaven, and I said to her in the transmission, because as I said, my father was not an easy person to be with, and they had a lot of problems in their marriage. And I said to my mother, have you seen Dad? Have you been able to communicate with Dad? And she said, well, he's in a little different area than I am, and I'm not ready yet. I'm taking my time before I go to see him. My understanding is because my father was on a lower vibratory plane, he could not come up. My mother was more evolved than he was, so she was on a higher plane. He could not come up to see her vibration wise, but she could go to see him. So that yes, there is a heaven, but it's and they have schools there and they have everything else there. I've been told that Saul at one point had a job in heaven greeting children who had crossed over. We take jobs there if we need to. In the book, Saul talks about the fact that there was a man he encountered in heaven who was very, very abusive to his family. And the man, when he crossed over, got his life review. And his job, what he chose to do to atone, was to do everything that he could to help his family members on this side. Even though they were not consciously aware that he was there, he was trying to make connections for them and trying to help them to um, to heal and to understand things better. And he also would greet other souls as they came over to the across the veil, and he would greet them and he would tell them his story because when they were going to reincarnate, he wanted them to be aware and to think about this. So this was his part of healing and his part of penance. So this is what goes on in heaven.
How do you define forgiveness?
When they pulled me out of my car and that voice literally was a voice came into my head, It said, be loving and kind to everyone as they laid me on the side of the road. As I've gotten more and more into this world, the currency on the other side is love. We learn to forgive, we learn to drop the anger, we learn to heal. It's all about love. Love, and love is not just when you're on this side and you're in a body. Love is not just a concept that you feel love in your heart for someone in your life. It's about acting love as a behavior. It's about expressing love to people in your life, letting them know that you see them, that you're there for them. And it's also the biggest part about love. When they told me be loving and kind to everyone, that means you too. You are a precious soul in a body here on earth. Take care of yourself. Be loving to yourself, because if you do not show yourself that kind of care and love, how can you truly express it to those in your life? The more that we can live love as a behavior, both to ourselves and to others, and that also means, though, that if people are toxic in your life, you can detach from them with love. You can say, this person's not right for me, but I'm not going to be consumed with anger and make a whole story of it. I can just detach, bless you, but you're not, your vibration is not right for me, or whatever. But you don't have to hold rancor about it. You don't have to be obsessed or consumed with it. You can recognize that that is a soul struggling also. And whatever their path is, whatever their growth is, that's for them and their soul. That doesn't mean that you have to participate in that drama that is going on. I have learned to live as a conscious human being, which is part of evolving. And if you're a conscious human being, you know that you have a soul. You know that you came here to learn lessons. You take mistakes that you make and you take things that happen as, well, what am I supposed to learn from that? Instead of, how am I going to have vengeance and have this eat me up my whole life so that I can't even, I'm blinded by whatever these emotions are, and I cannot flourish and grow and be a light worker in this world, be someone who can help people to also evolve. Also, evolving doesn't mean you're better than someone else. It has nothing to do with that. I don't see that at all. I just see it as that I've been blessed to become more aware, even though it came from a terrible, tragic car accident and surgeries and the things that I went through. But the payoff for me is the way my relationships in my life have changed for the better, and how people seem to flourish around me. And it's nothing that I do, that I strategize to do. It's just because of the work that I've done in expressing love for myself to heal myself. And it's my presence in the world. And it's not just me, because I'm sure all of you know people who have that kind of presence. You just feel uplifted when you're with them, because they don't have an agenda for you. They just want to love you, and they just want to express their love to you, and they want to be, and you see that they express love to themselves too. They take care of each other. I guess I can explain it in a way of, their energy is clean. It's not bogged down by all kinds of other agendas and things that have gone on. It's really good to let go of the pain and the suffering and the stories. My best story is my father. I've let go. I've let go. It doesn't consume me anymore. There was a time when it did. I couldn't wait to tell everyone my stories of suffering and what I've been through. That's my old story, and I've healed it. That's my story now.
What does our soul want us to know?
So, what does our soul want us to know? And what is the message for the future for everyone? I think it's most succinctly said through the epilogue of my book, They Serve Bagels in Heaven. And I'm going to read it to all of you. If Saul and I can leave you with one thought, one significant impression, I hope it will be that life is meant to be lived consciously with love and kindness, not only to others, but also to yourself. Enjoy your present moments. Watch that sunset. Take that walk. Take good care of yourself. And be sure to see and love the people in your life. Let them know often, not only with your words, but also through your behavior toward them, that you love and care about them. May love light your life always. From my heart, Irene.